Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So behind me I have a 2010 Mercedes GLK350. This one has around 144,000 miles on it. A pulley wound up going out, and there's a few other bad pulleys that we have here, so I wound up shredding the belt. So we're going to go ahead and take care of that today. Before we go ahead and start though, guys, if you guys haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below. It'll definitely help the channel grow. And with that said, let's go ahead and begin. Alright guys, so we're going to go ahead and begin now. I do want to mention before we start on this video that it's not going to be as easy as showing you how everything comes off and then putting it back together, because this thing is kind of torn apart. When the pulley broke and seized up, it shredded the belt. So we're not going to have the type of video where I'm taking off the belt and everything like that. It's that part of it has already been done for us by the vehicle. Now, I did kind of mock this up, but I do want to show you guys where you want to begin. Now, most Mercedes will have this cover here. You're going to go ahead and take this off. It's usually clipped on there. It's fairly easy. You got a couple points for some clips right there. You go ahead and take that and lift it up. Now, in order to give ourselves some extra room here, we're also going to be removing this air intake pipe by pulling from the engine side back and then just wiggling it out of the way. Now that we have that out of the way, I'm going to get you guys set up in the engine bay somewhere here so you guys can kind of see what I'm doing, because on the tripod it's going to be very difficult to try to get any sort of video done. So let me get the best camera angle in, and then we're going to show you guys the carnage that happened here and go forward with everything else. Alright guys, so this is probably the best angle that we're going to be able to get in here. So what wound up happening to this car, if you guys will notice right here, there's supposed to be a pulley, and I know you guys can't see it very well, but the pulley basically locked up and broke and wound up chewing up the belt and throwing the belt off. That's what wound up happening to this car. If you can kind of follow here, and I know it's going to be difficult, but you can see there's a bunch of shredded belt. It's really hard for the camera to pick it up just because there's not a lot of room on the front bank of this Mercedes, guys, but you guys will see there. That's all shredded belt material. We're going to have to clean up and everything, but what we're going to be doing to this today, guys, is we're going to be replacing this pulley, this other idler pulley, and we have this tensioner pulley that we're going to replace. Now, the spacing in this motor is very, very tight, guys. It's hard for me to be able to get the best filming angle in here, so I just want to mention that up front. This video may not be the greatest, but I will do my best. But what we're going to begin is go ahead and remove our pulleys up here. So I'm going to get some tools, guys, get everything ready, and we're going to start tearing into this thing. So where we're going to begin, guys, is just by removing the pulleys. I'm going to start with the one that's seized up and is pretty much broken off. Now, you're going to need an E-torque socket to get it off, because this does have a special bolt on there. So I have my E12, and we're going to go ahead and just take this off. Now, be extra careful when you remove these, because if it winds up breaking off like mine has, sometimes they could bend the bolt that holds the pulley in place, or they might shear the head off, or the head may be damaged, and there's a possibility of breaking it. So you want to be very careful. Now that I broke that loose, and I know that can come off fairly easy, it's going to be a really long bolt. I'm going to go ahead and switch out to my electric ratchet here, if I could get this. So now that we have the bolt off, you will see all that's really left of this pulley here is just this bearing. There's the rest of it just broke off and sheared off. I'm guessing this bearing, yep, this bearing seized up, and that's why that broke. So we're going to go ahead and put those to the side there, and what we're going to be doing next is go ahead and take off this pulley, which is right here. Now this also has a E-torques, guys, but it's going to be an E14 socket. So go ahead and get a E14. Mercedes is very keen on using E-torque sockets. I don't know exactly why. A regular bolt would work, but they're very keen on it. So now that we broke it loose, we're going to go ahead and use our impact to get it off. And that one comes off fairly simple, just like that, as you guys can see. So the next one that we're going to be removing is going to be our tensioner. Now this is our tensioner right here, guys. I'm just going to use my ratchet to point it out. This one uses a different style bolt. It's going to be a Torx. It's going to be a T40. And this one can be a little difficult here. Now I'm gonna try to get my e-Torx on there. It may block the camera just for a second here, guys. Just gotta get it in here and fully seated. Make sure that your e-Torx socket is fully seated. And the reason why these can be a little difficult is when you're gonna go this way, which is counterclockwise to break that bolt loose, what's gonna want to happen is the tensioner is gonna want to move with you. So what I find sometimes is they can be a little difficult. Sometimes you may have to hold them using the 17 mil lug that they provide for slackening the tension on it. But let's just see what happens here. So okay, surprisingly this one was very loose, guys. Didn't even put up a fight at all. Let me get my hand in here and see. Wow, yeah, okay, so that one's nice and loose. I'm wondering if that had something to do with, you know, the way this bolt came off. Let me go ahead and get my electric ratchet set up here and see if maybe I could get in there. Now I'm trying not to block the camera, guys. This is very difficult trying to do it this way, but I'm trying to do my best. I'm gonna have to block you guys here for a second. So we went ahead and we zipped off the bolt, and then what we're gonna do is just reach in here and pull out our pulley, and then that's what that looks like. And the reason why we're replacing this, when the bolt broke, you guys can see that you know, just left a bunch of shrapnel all over it, so you have to replace this. This is not going to be good. If you just leave it on there, put it with a new bolt, you'll make a bunch of noise with it. Alright guys, so we are ready to reinstall our pulleys. I'm going to start off with the tensioner pulley first. Now the tensioner pulley that I have is a metal one. Apparently there's been an upgrade on them. So this is going to be the one that we're going to be using. What I'm going to do is reuse the bolt and the hardware that came off of the old pulley. We're going to be reusing that. So the way this is going to work, and I'm going to try to get my hand here as far out of the way so I don't get in the way too much, is you're going to go ahead and put your pulley on, and then we're going to take our hardware and you're going to hand thread it starting off. Once you get a couple hand threads on there, you're going to take your Torx socket and you're going to go ahead and start tightening it up and get this thing torqued on. I'm going to go ahead and do that, guys. I don't typically show me torquing stuff or tightening stuff because everyone has a different way of doing it. It's going to be the same case in this video. We're going to go ahead and tighten that up, get it torqued, and then move on to the next pulley. Now that our pulley is nice and tight, what you're going to want to do, guys, is spin it. Just make sure it's not rubbing or hitting anything. This one did have me in a little bit of a panic because typically if it's plastic and then you get a metal pulley, you know, something could be wrong. But I guess they must have changed it. We are not using factory pulleys on this one. The guy wanted to use aftermarket. So that's what we're going with. And, you know, sometimes there is a change in design, and apparently this is one of those. I've measured the pulley and checked everything. They're pretty much identical. It's just that they're made out of metal versus plastic. But either way, that one seems to be the correct one. I was a little bit skeptical at first, but it appears to be correct. What we're going to do next is go ahead and get our upper pulley, which is the one that basically shrapnelized, guys. I know it's very difficult to see on this video. Let me see if I can do it any justice and try to adjust the camera here for you, just so I can get a better video here. But what we're gonna do is take our new pulley. Now this one is a grooved plastic pulley, and what I'm gonna do is go ahead and start threading it into its position. Now this one came with new hardware, and it is not going to be the same exact size as the one that the factory had on there. This one has traded it in for a conventional bolt size. Now what I'm going to do is always, once again guys, always start off by hand threading. Once you get a couple good hand threads on there, you can go ahead and use your ratchet or use your electric ratchet. I'm going to go ahead and get that tightened up, and I'll be right back with you guys. Alright guys, so now it's time to install our lower pulley. The one you just previously saw me install, this one's considered to be the upper, and this is the lower, and the tensioner one is just a tensioner pulley. Now this one, I'm going to be reusing the hardware that was on here originally, simply because the new hardware that came with it looked very cheesy, didn't look really reliable, so I'm just going to reuse the factory one here, guys. Sometimes not all hardware that comes with a certain part is considered great. Sometimes there will be issues. So I'm going to go ahead and get this tightened up all the way, and I'll be right back with you guys. Alright guys, now that our pulley is installed and tightened, you guys can see it's moving nice and easy, there's no noise, and we need to go ahead and install a belt on it. Now, I don't have the belt diagram for this car because it didn't come in with a belt. However, I just looked it up online and I believe I know it. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and start with the crankshaft first. From the crankshaft, it looks like the AC pulley needs to be put on here. So we got it over the AC. Now I'm going to go over the power steering pump pulley, and this is a difficult one because the power steering line is right on the way. So it will fight you a little bit, guys. Be prepared for that. Let me just kind of get my belt situated here. Now what I'm going to do is kind of pull on it a little bit and just make sure that I have everything in the correct grooves. It's not on my crankshaft pulley correctly here, so I just gotta line that up and fix it here. And let me just take a look. The main thing here, guys, is making sure the belt is lined up, because if you don't have it correctly on the grooves of the pulleys, trust me from experience, it just winds up fighting you, and it's not a good thing. So from here, what I believe it's supposed to do is supposed to come here and wrap around our lower idler that we just replaced, and then it's supposed to go on our water pump, which should be right there. And make sure we get it in all the way. Then we're gonna go ahead and go on our alternator, which you guys may not be able to see right now. And once we have that, let me just kind of get it out of the way here. We should have it on our idler pulley here, and then should go on our tensioner. So just a quick thing, guys, I kind of just stopped the video right there in editing because I was getting a little confused. I had to look at a few other diagrams. From the crank, you're supposed to go to the tensioner and then wrap it around. That's where I had basically made a mix up. I thought it would carry over here and go to the tensioner, but that wasn't the case. I've gone ahead and pretty much gotten everything ready. It's almost ready to put on. The only thing I gotta do is just come in here and make sure that all of my pulleys are basically lined up with the belt correctly. Make sure they're all in line. What I've done was I left my upper pulley without the belt. You guys can see here it's spinning. That's going to be the last place where I'm going to be putting my belt on. Now on our tensioner, all the way down here, we are going to have a 17mm bolt, which basically attaches to the tensioner to detension it. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and ratchet up my ratchet here, and we're going to take the slack off the tensioner, and that in turn should give us enough slack on our belt to be able to put it on. Now sometimes it will fight you if you are not lined up on your pulleys correctly, guys. So if you ever have one pulley that is not in line, it will fight you, and I think that's what I'm fighting right now, because for whatever reason it does not want to go on. Let me make sure. And I think it was on my power steering pump right there. Yep, my power steering pump pulley was not lined up, so let's give this another go. Let's go ahead and detension it, and just like that, when all of our pulleys are lined up, it goes on like butter. Did fight me a little bit, but you know, it's never always 100% easy. So now that we went ahead and we got our belt on there, what we're gonna want to do is go ahead and start the car up. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now. Let me just make sure that we have nothing in our way. Alright guys, so our engine is running. That faint sound that you hear is the air pump, but There's no pulley noise or anything. It's nice and smooth. Hopefully the audio doesn't sound bad, because typically when the engine's on and I try to talk over it, that's not a good mix. But as you guys can see, everything is running perfectly. So now that our belt is on and everything is good and it's running, guys, we have to reinstall our ductwork. These ducts just go right into place and they clip on, and you just push them in and they go ahead and fit on the filter housing. And then you're going to take your engine cover just like this, and you're going to line it up, and it should just fall right into place. This engine cover is not the greatest. The clips are a little messed up, so I have a feeling this has a tendency to rattle, but just make sure you put that back. Alright guys, so that's how easy it is to replace the two idlers and the tensioner pulley on this Mercedes GLK350. Now the engine code for this one is a M272, so this will apply to many Mercedes, not just this GLK. This engine was used in a wide variety of cars and is still in use a lot today. So if you guys have any variation of cars with this engine, it will be the exact same thing. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully this video helps you guys out if you guys are attempting to do the same job. Please comment, like, and subscribe, because it definitely helps the channel grow. And with that said, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.